Morning everybody. So the boys are having a nice time out. I moved the fence a little bit yesterday, so they're having a nice time on the section that I moved. Obviously there's more grass there. Enjoying themselves. So today's video, I wanted to do about riding on the road with my British Horse Society magazine this month, this last one. I had a thing to book in the back of the car, which I can't remember what it says, and I'm afraid I meant to bring it, but I've forgotten. And they've obviously got a campaign trying to get drivers to go 50 miles an hour past a horse at the most. So I thought it might be a good idea just to talk about that and tell you sort of what I do and that sort of thing. Obviously, I don't know about any of you, but there's less places to ride off the road for me now than there used to be. Around here there is one bridle way. That means I could do half of a ride on a bridleway and half would be on the road, but there is a point-to-point yard on the bridleway, so you have to go through the side of their yard, and they've got dogs and they're all loose, and obviously the horses start running up and down, and really just makes Basil no fun to ride. So I don't really go that way. I'll come in here, the sun's a bit bright really. I ride on the road mostly now. Where I used to keep them, there was a little bit of off-road riding. We had an old railway line that you could ride on, and that was really nice. You started to go a little bit on the road, but here the off-road riding is not very great. I am very lucky because most of the people around here drive very carefully. I get the odd one or two that go past too fast, but not hugely too fast, faster than I would like, but most of them are very considerate, and most of them give me a nice wide berth and go slowly. I know that is not everybody's experience, and I desperately feel that we need to educate drivers that don't know horses better. And I watched, in the UK here we have a programme on Sunday night called Countryfile, and they do stuff about the countryside. But the other week they had a lady from the British Horse Society on talking about horses on the road, and I have to say I was a little bit disappointed, because all she said was that horse riders needed to do more to get their horses ready for the road. And whilst I agree with her to some extent, there are some horse riders on the road that shouldn't be there, I also think that drivers need to be educated about horses on the road. You know, our bridleways now, we're sharing them with cyclists, as well as a lot more walkers and dog walkers, and so if we have got a bridleway, we're now sharing them with hundreds of people on bikes, and there's loads of bikes on the road, and some of them are better than others and more considerate than others with horses as well. So I think it's both, really. I'm lucky, again, because Basil is very good on the road. He's very good with cars, he's very good with lorries, tractors, combine harvesters, bicycles. The only thing he's not hugely keen on is if a big group of motorbikes go past at a time. That he can 1, 2, 3. He's okay, and as with the cars, they're actually very good here where I live, and they go past. They slow down, and they are considerate, and they usually wait for me because I signal to them that I'm going to try and get into a gateway or something, so that I'm further away from them, so they can go past. And they are very considerate, but by the time the fourth one is going past, Basil's usually getting a little bit stressed. I think it must be the noise. I can't really think why else it is that he gets upset by motorbikes, because he's so good with everything else. So, like I say, I think there's a few things that I agreed with this lady from the British Horse Society about. She didn't mention a lot of these things, but I do agree with her that there are some things horse riders can do, like get your horse used to cars and things before you venture on the road. If you keep your horse at a delivery yard, then they've probably got cars and tractors and things going around anyway. So just get your horse near to them and get them used to them. Bikes and all that sort of thing. You can also get them used to plastic bags, because often that's the problem. Plastic bags and different things you can introduce to them at home when you're in a safe environment, so that they are happy if you see them out on a road. Biggest problem I find is that Basil's pretty good with that sort of stuff when it's stationary, but if you're going down the road and a plastic bag starts blowing towards us if it's windy, he's not overly keen on that. So that's my other thing about rubbish on the roads. People that just chuck their rubbish out their car windows make me really angry. The other thing that you can't prepare for really is pheasants flying out the hedge at the last minute, and pigeons, because they do that as well, don't they? Take off right in front of you. And I've also had a bad experience with the dog jumping up against a gate when we were just going past. Luckily there were no cars, but it upset Basil. Sat down on the road and grazed all his back legs, made a bit of a mess, and that was 3 years ago, and he's still nervous of going down that road. He does, but he is tense and nervous. So you can't prepare for everything, but you can prepare for as much as possible. And remember, if you see something that your horse isn't keen on and there's a car coming, maybe stop and let the car go past before you get to it, and then it's not an issue with the car. You can get past it when there's no car there to cause trouble. You can't anticipate everything, but if you know your horse, you can see, oh, that might be difficult. When they've repainted the white lines in the road, Basil's a bit more hesitant. He has a thing about white things, so I'm built more careful then. Or if I see a roadwork sign on the side of the road and there's a car coming, I will wait until the car goes past before I try and go round it. So sensible stuff like that. You can also make sure that you have your right leg on if you're riding on, or your roadside leg on, and them turned with their head slightly towards the road, so that they will, more likely to shy outwards if they see something coming along the road than shy into the car. Of course, that depends on which side of the road you're riding on, and you should always ride on the road the same way as the traffic, not the other way from the traffic. So you should be on the left in the UK, but on the right obviously in quite a lot of other countries. We're just odd here. The other thing is riding single file. I do see so many people riding double, and I totally understand that if you've got a young and inexperienced horse, you want to have an experienced horse between them and the traffic, and that's fine. But if you're riding in double file, you're filling a lot of the road. It means the car, because I'm a driver as well, means the car doesn't have the ability to go wide around you. So it is much more difficult for them. Yes, they have to really slow down. In theory, they have to really slow down. I'm not sure all still would, but you're putting yourself at way more risk by being double file, because there's less room between the horse in the middle of the road and the car. So I don't think that's not a good idea. So riding single file. If you have to ride double, never do that round a corner, because the cars can't see you until they get round the corner, and then they come across a horse who, for all intents and purposes, is in the middle of the road because there's another one on the hedge side. You're asking for trouble. So please don't ever ride double file round a corner when the cars can't see you. The other thing is obviously knowing your hand signals, knowing your highway code, so that you can signal to people. This is a thing that I don't think all car drivers know, what hand signals mean. How you ask someone to slow down, how you say, obviously right and left is fairly obvious, but telling people to stop or slow down are useful things to know. but we need to make sure the car drivers know how hand signals mean as well, and they don't all do that, and that's obviously highway code, driving test, all that sort of stuff. As I say, I'm really lucky around here because I do have some considerate drivers, but I always say thank you. Even if they go past fast, they get a slightly smaller thank you. So if they really slow down and really go really wide and really considerate, I put my hand out, I nod, I smile, and I say thank you. If they're coming from behind, obviously I just really put my hand up because they won't be able to see me saying thank you. If they don't slow down so well, I just sort of put my hand up. So I'm always saying thank you, however fast they go past, because I think that's improving our profile as horse riders, as opposed to people thinking we're inconsiderate and rude. And saying thank you's got to be a way to start that. And it goes along with that is always have both hands on the reins, always be awake, always be concentrating. Don't, anything could happen. A pheasant could fly at the hedge, like I said. So you must be concentrating all the time that you're riding on the road, because anything can happen. We all know what horses are like. Us horse riders all know what horses are like. So be sensible. And have control of your horse. Don't slop along with your one hand holding the buckle. And on that note, never ride on the road with an MP3 player, earbuds in your ears, because you have to be able to hear the cars coming. You have to be able to hear if a bike or a dog walker or a runner or a motorbike or a combine or a tractor, or if there's a dog the other side of the hedge or anything like that. You must be able to hear it. And I don't think cyclists should wear MP3 players either when they're riding, for exactly the same reasons. But it's worse if you're a horse rider, because your horse is unpredictable. A bicycle is under the control of the rider. A horse is to some extent, but they are animals and you never know. So for goodness sake, don't wear an MP3 player. Enjoy the birds singing and the peace and quiet, because you are asking for an accident if you are not aware of what is approaching you from behind. Another important thing, I think, which is probably something I didn't used to consider at all, but if a car is coming up at you from behind, make sure you're walking or stop, because if you're trotting and you carry on trotting, they've got to go a lot faster to get past you than they would if you were walking or standing still. So it makes sense to me that if you walk or stand, they will be able to get past you more, not going faster, but more quickly. It will take them less time to get past you. So make sure you're walking. And sometimes, as I say, sometimes I halt. It just depends on the situation or where I am. If I'm coming up to a corner, I tend to halt, and that sort of thing. And if you're a driver and you can wave people past you if you can see and they can't, but I would not encourage you to do that. I think you need to leave the driver to make their own decision about when and where to pass you, and if they can see what's coming. Always tell somebody where you're going when you ride out, or take your mobile phone with you. Put it on silent unless your horse is totally fine with it going off, because you don't want that to make them jump. And if you're going to put it in your pocket, make sure you do your pocket up. I have it's going to be buried over here. Well, I have two, because I used to have a tiny little phone, which I used to put in here and put around my leg. But now I have and these are designed for exercising, to put your phones in and put them around your arm when you're exercising. I put mine around my leg, just around the top of my calf here, and obviously the phones are getting quite big again now, but that used to work with my other phone. It's a bit tight with the one I've got now, but that's a really good thing, because actually then it's accessible and it stays with you while you're riding. The other thing is verges. Obviously grass verges are a good way of getting off the road, out of the way of traffic and things, and they always look lovely for cantering on. certainly around here there are close to where I am here, there's 2 drains in the grass verge, and both of them, or they're manhole covers really, but one of them has had a new manhole cover, the other one they haven't done, and it doesn't fit on properly. So if you're going up a grass verge and your horse stands on the manhole cover, you could end up in the manhole. And I've seen some horrible pictures on the internet of horses that have fallen into drains and things. So I would, unless you've ridden up there loads and loads of times in walk and looked, don't canter on the grass verge. And even then, watch out for rubbish. Like I said earlier, people seem to chuck stuff out their car windows, and it's not just paper and plastic bags, it's beer bottles and cans and tins and stuff, and imagine what a mess they can make of your horse's leg or foot if they stand on that. So just be really careful if you're going to go on the verge. Now, I've left the most important stuff, or some of the most important stuff, till last. Always wear your hard hat when you're riding out, and do it up under your chin. I've got, which you probably saw a minute ago, I've got a luminous hat cover on mine, and I wear that all year round so that the cars can see me. They can see my head over the top of hedges quite often as well, which is an advantage, but it's nice and bright to help them see me. And I would never ever 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 ride without a hard hat on. If you fall off on the road, and you are very 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 likely to hit your head on the tarmac, in which case you will either be dead or you will have a serious head injury. So it's just stupid to me to ride without a hat. And obviously in the UK, if you're under 16, I think it's illegal, or it might be 18, I can't quite remember, to ride on the road without a hard hat on. And do it up, because it flies off as you fall off, then it's no good at all. The other thing I do all year round to help cars see me against the hedge, because obviously Basil is bay, so he blends into the hedges and stuff a bit, so I want to try and make people notice us. So in this all year round, I also wear my luminous tabard, which also says something on the back. It says, what's it say? I think it says please pass wide and slow. It's got pockets in which you can put your phone in, but the only problem is it bangs when you trot, bangs against the saddle, so it's not ideal, because I have a bigger one so it fits over loads of coats, you see. So I wear that as well all year round, in the winter over the top of about 4 coats, but in the summer just on the top of a t-shirt or a sweatshirt or something. The other thing I do in the winter, most times I ride out, is put Basil's luminous exercise sheet on. This obviously is nice and bright, and really I think it makes sure nobody can not see us. Unless they've got their eyes shut, they're going to see us coming, or us ahead of them. The other things, there's lots of other things you can get. I have also got some luminous boots. Some luminous boots which can go, these are smaller ones that go on these front legs, and then I've got some bigger ones that go on the back legs. So I wear them, I don't wear them, I put them on Basil if his legs are not covered in wet mud. Obviously I don't want them to rub his legs, so, and because I nearly always ride him out of the field, sometimes he has wet mud on them, so I don't, unless I can really wipe it off. But we do try and wear those as well when we go out on the road in the winter. So there's quite a few things there that we can do to help ourselves. I also, like I said at the beginning, I also think there's a lot more education can be done for other road users, cars, bikes, motorbikes. I was disappointed that nothing really on that side was mentioned on Countryfile the other week, because I think that was a really good opportunity to get to a far broader audience than the British Horse Society generally reach. That was a good start, but I just hope they manage to do something again in the future, which is about educating car drivers because if they don't know about horses, then they don't know that whatever we do at home, however much we prepare, they're still always going to be animals and they're unpredictable, and that we don't really want to ride on the road. It's just that our bridleways are being closed or are difficult to access or being used so much by other users that make it impossible to use them as well. So I hope you found this video interesting. If you ever unlucky enough to have an accident on the road, I know the British Horse Society also have and I'll put a link in the bar below, a page that you can report accidents, because they are trying to get statistics and stuff which will help them levy the government in the UK. But let's try and do everything we can. Horses are always going to be unpredictable. Whatever you do at home, something can always happen that you're not expecting. So just be safe and do everything you can to keep you and your horse safe when you're riding on the road. So thanks for watching today. I hope you found it interesting and maybe learned a couple of things. You never know. I will see you again soon, so take care. Bye.